Hey, welcome in, folks. It's the AJA Sports Show. I'm Ace. Joined with me today are my esteemed colleagues, Jay and Andrew. What's going on, guys?
Thank you for such high praise. What's going on, Ace?
Not much.
How we doing?
We're doing well. We're trying some new things as always with the show. So we're drawing in the music to entertain your earbuds as much as possible.
Entertaining mine.
While we try to take you away from whatever possible craziness you're experiencing in your life. Hopefully you can have a little fun with us and hang out and definitely. So yeah, today's our court sessions episode. This is the NBA live stream that we host weekly on the show. Kind of a lot going on in the NBA landscape. Andrew, right before we popped on, showed us a clip of Joel Embiid just lasering a ball across 90. Well, not 90. Well, is it 90 feet?
Somewhere close. He was like 5 feet from the baseline. It was unbelievable. I hope we can show it. Yeah, maybe we can show it. If not, I mean,
it's like 75 feet across half court, and it almost went in to tie the game to help send the 76ers into overtime, but he threw it too hard.
I have the video. Do you guys want to watch it? We are giving our reaction to the video. This is a reaction, right? This is a reaction. We are going to play the video to react to the video. Okay. I just want to make sure everyone is aware that it's a reaction. That's what we're doing. Okay. All right, here we go. I didn't put the audio, so no audio. You know what I'm saying?
No worries.
Here we go. All right. So the fact that it almost goes in is ridiculous. The quality's not great, Rob Perez.
Kind of one-handed.
Get out, bro. Like what?
Damn.
Like how?
That almost went down. That should have went down. That would have been crazy.
So
that would have won the MVP for him right there.
So we're gonna talk about the MVP, MVP of the league right here.
It's a little slow-mo. Whoa. Yeet. Like a shot put.
But that could have been like kind of like the cherry on top for him to win it if he wins it.
That's crazy, dude.
Elizabeth coming in and saying, "Good job, Jay. Tell him it's reaction, folks." Yeah, so definitely we if we show a clip or anything on here, we're just giving some reaction or commentary or review of it for your guys' entertainment and pleasure. So so Andrew brought it up, right? He makes that shot. He's Joel is winning MVP. So I guess we could start there. So let's begin some MVP conversation. And Andrew, as much as you're maybe not as crazy as Jay and I, you need to back up Joel because I'm a little worried that Jokic might not win it. And then when I'm hearing this talk about Joel Embiid and his fantastic stats, and you have some hidden stat for me that you haven't shared yet. So I figured out one too. I did a little deep dive. While I was eating dinner with the wifey, eating some chicken sauté, I found a stat that I think is going to prove why Nikola Jokic is this year's NBA MVP. No Mickey Mouse MVP as
well. Here's a twist that nobody saw coming. The stat that I have is actually in your favor.
Yes. Yes.
I kept it vague on Twitter for a reason. Yeah,
okay.
it's a stat comparison between a very notable former Lakers big man that I don't know if you want to share yours first. You want me to go first? That's totally up to you. It is your guy, Jokic. You're calling Jokic for MVP, so.
All right. We could, before we get into it, let's take a step back, okay? So I'm handsy today. Sorry, folks. Okay, so we're going to talk about the darling of the ball right now, which is Steph Curry. So Steph Curry coming in hot this whole month of April, going absolutely bananas from the 3-point line and beyond. I have some stats I'm going to read here right now, as I also pull up the Kia's MVP standings, which is a good point of reference for us because we've been keeping tabs on it pretty weekly. I think our show doesn't necessarily cross over at the same time that the ladder does, but
it comes out.
Yeah, but anyways, let me just scroll it to Jokic here and then read off some stats for Steph. So Steph has hit 78 3-pointers in the last 11 games. which is a lot. To put this in comparison, it's the most in any 11-game stretch. He also carries the record for most in 10 games, 9 games, 8 games, 7 games, 6 games, 5 games, 4 games, 3 games, and 2 games. So unprecedented 3-point shooting from this guy, which is putting him into the MVP talk. But this is not a 73-9 winning Golden State Warriors team. They're currently 29-29, if I getting that right. So
they lost today, so
29-30. So we're gonna take a step back, I think, from mainstream media and kind of giving Steph his due, even though it's like absurd what he's doing. But I think your team has to have a better than 50-50 record for you to even have a chance there.
They wouldn't make the playoffs today in a normal season. So
So he's on this ladder somewhere probably. I didn't review it yet. We're gonna go over.
He's
it
got to
together.
be. I mean, we think he's amazing, but
yes. So okay, so we're talking about Jokic. So we'll give both of our Jokic stats. So Andrew on Twitter is telling me Dikembe Mutomboing me with Joel Embiid, telling me that Jokic might not win MVP. And maybe he was trolling me a little bit because I got some love for Nikola over here. My stat, Andrew, is Nikola Jokic has played 2,017 minutes this year, second only to Julius Randle. Go figure. Julius Randle popping off. Good for him too. The New York Knicks. We'll talk about them in a few, but New York Knicks have been stomping on some teams. In comparison, Jokic is number 2 in the league. He hasn't missed a game. He's played every game. 133rd in the league is Joel Embiid. He's played 1,257 minutes. So that's not including today's, and obviously
ton of minutes.
That'll that'll change as the season goes on. But in a shortened season, 2,000 minutes is a pretty regular feat. So we have even 10 less games this year, and Jokic has already passed it. So what's your stat here, Andrew?
So mine's going to be a comparison to be a little longer, but let me give a little like what I think about that. That's crazy impressive. And that's only going to like the amount of minutes he's played so far. And he's number 1 in the league. I did not know that. That definitely changes the way I feel about it. I saw that stat prior to us jumping into the live stream. So that's actually doing a lot of good for Jokic. I mean, Embiid just lost tonight, so I don't want to talk him up too much, but even though he almost made that shot. My stat was actually a comparison between Jokic and this Laker great that you guys can try and guess after I give the Lakers stats. This is what Jokic is averaging this season. 26.1, 11 boards, 8.8 assists, 1.5 steals, half a block, shooting 57% from the field, 86% from the free throw line, and in only 35 minutes. The Laker great, I'm not going to say what season it was, going to give it away actually, is averaging 30 with 13 rebounds, 4 assists, half a steal, but 3 blocks. Same field goal percentage at 57. Only 52% from the free throw line, and I think I just gave it away with that actually, now that I think about it, on 40 minutes a game. So pretty like even split numbers, and this player won the MVP when in the year that I gave. So who's that Laker great? Who do you guys think it is?
So I mean, I was gonna guess like that's too many steals for Shaq, but then when you said his free throw percentage, is that Shaq?
Yeah, it's Shaq. In the night, I said the free throw percentage. I'm like, I'm gonna give it away by saying the year. I didn't even think about the free throw percentage. Nobody else shoots 52% for the line except for Shaq.
Oh my Lanta, yeah, dude. He what was that? Was that half a steal a game? You said
half a steal for Shaq.
Oh, okay. Well, so that means he got 82 game season. That means he got 41 steals or something like that year. I mean, okay. I mean, that seems like a ton for Shaq. I don't know. Maybe maybe when someone was trying to post up on him, or I don't know. I don't know how Shaq got 41 steals. That's the stat of the century, there, folks. To me,
I was more blown away that he averaged 4 assists. I can't believe he passed the ball that much, especially when he got on the blog.
Dude, we had so many role players. Like he would back someone down and then pass it out to Rick Fox.
Little inside out game.
Devin George. So many role players on those teams.
That's true.
Well, okay, so Jokic for MVP. I'm trying to get everybody on the team to toot the horn. I'm tooting, but as you can see here, he's having a great season. Stats wise, 26 a game. Andrew just mentioned it, but so far so good for his chances. The Nuggets are still winning. Jamal Murray went down with the ACL tear, so as far as it goes in Denver, it's gonna, Nuggets are only gonna be as successful as Jokic is. And then we got Mr. Embiid here. Lately, he's been like unfreaking fathomable. But over the season, 29.8 a game, 11 rebounds, 3.1 assists, 1 steal, 1.5 blocks for the number 1 team in the East. So he has the record going for him. If anything comes down to hairs for this, the votes, he has a better record, and he will have a better record as the season finishes.
Well, the thing about Joel and the difference between Jokic is the games and the minutes played. You guys already talked about it a little bit, but Embiid's played 38 games, 39 if you include tonight's. And Andrew, I know you mentioned that they lost tonight. He ain't the reason they lost. Homeboy had 38 and 17. Yep, 38, 17, and 4. So he's not the reason they lost tonight, but 39 games including tonight. If Joel Embiid plays every game for the rest of the season, he still will not have as many games played as Nikola Jokic does today. So, Nikola Jokic obviously has been real reliable for the Nuggets. They're going to have to rely on him more down the stretch with Jamal Murray being out. Jokic seems like the main guy, even though Joel Embiid, we were watching the other day against the Nets. Dude was dominant, Asa. Every time he touched the ball, he was either making a shot, getting fouled, or giving someone a wide open look because they had to bring the entire team on him besides the one guy on the perimeter. So, Jokic is a great pick. I think Joel Embiid has been absolutely fantastic, though. If he played more games, we may be having a different conversation.
Isn't this awesome, though? Great point, man. Just to have these two guys at the top, like 2 big men in the league, like I'm all for that. Like I love the fact that it's a pretty diverse league of NBA stars, and but yeah, it's nice to see that these two guys are at the top, and they're both they're huge for their team, and they're literally huge individuals. So
yeah, in the top 5, there's 3 of them if you count Giannis, who was my pick to win MVP. He's still averaging 26, 11, 7, 1 and 1 for the 3rd consecutive season. 1 and 1 of those steals and blocks. So. I mean, I'm not saying he should win it. He just returned from injury too, Giannis. I know we're going to get to him in a second because we got Luka next, but
yeah. Well, like I commented here, and don't worry, I have a journalism degree, and I didn't, check my own grammar, so that's a shame on me. Tell us who your NBA MVP in the chat is, if you have one, if you care to share one. If you have if you're just going to default to your team's best player, that's also okay too.
LeBron James.
So Luka Doncic coming in at number 3 here. Previously was out of the top 5 for Kia, so it's good to see him back on this list. 28.6 points a game, 7.9 rebounds, 8.6 assists, 1 steal. We didn't show that ridiculous shot, but it's kind of right here on a freeze frame where he just engaged into Superman pose and hit a shot at the buzzer. So it was pretty ridiculous. Was a game winner versus Memphis. So, I mean, that alone, if he wins the MVP, would be like, oh, that's the shot. That's like the freeze frame. We talk a lot about we talked a lot about MVPs throughout the season, but you kind of have to have that for. Every player, every player kind of has to have like that memory that everybody goes back to. So Luka's might be this shot for Joel. If he had made that, full court shot today that we showed at the top of the hour, that would probably been his cherry on top. For Jokic, it probably was yesterday's. Was it yesterday the double overtime game where he went absolutely insane bananas.
Yeah, he had like 47, 18, and 5 or something like that, right?
Or 47, 16, and 7, I think.
He hit a 3-pointer, I think it was in the second overtime to really solidify it.
Yeah, he had a 3-pointer with 42 seconds to go in the double overtime. That was in the second overtime when he hit it. And that pretty much, sealed the win for the Nuggets. So, double overtime.
It was on Monday versus Memphis. He had 47, 15, and 8. Yeah, he played 45 minutes, 20 of 31. Holy Toledo, that's unbelievable.
So maybe that shot kind of becomes his like little freeze frame moment where, as our, big brothers and sister networks talk about who the MVP is. They like to show clips and stuff like that. Roll out their B roll of oh, this is what this player did this year. I bet that 3-point shot to like seal the game for the Nuggets is probably on on Jokic's B-roll segment, because it's kind of boring what he's doing, to be honest. Like, he's not necessarily getting like the praise that like Joel and Steph are getting, because it's just he's done this from game one of the season and he's just maintained it. So for a lot of like NBA fans or people that critique the game, they'll sometimes not give him as much dap because of that reason, just because you're kind of expecting it from him at this point. So yeah, but anywho, I think Luka isn't going to win, but Luka's such a good player, and Giannis is also Giannis has won MVP last 2 years, right?
Yeah, last 2 years in a row.
Wow. So like, I don't think he's going to three-peat it this year, but for fudge's sake, this guy's pretty close. He's averaging 28.5, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.2 steals, 1.3 blocks. I mean, that's probably like the most consistent of the group. He's missed a lot of games. Not a lot, but not as much as Joel. But he has missed some time.
Missed the last few, so just recent memory.
Yeah, so I think what Milwaukee is trying to do is they're trying to get their guy to be there at the end, because if he's not playing well, he's not there, or he's not playing well, the Bucks don't have a shot, and they potentially have a shot with Harden not being healthy, Durant not being healthy for the Nets. So there is a genuine shot for the Nets not to win it this year. Giannis needs to step up in the playoffs though, which he didn't do last year.
Yeah, that was a big question mark for him. They're in a sweet spot right now where they're like 3 games behind the Nets for the 2 seed, and they're like 4 games above the Hawks for the 3 as the 3 seed. The Hawks are the 5. The Hawks are the 4. So they have like a little room to work with here. We'll talk about it a little bit when we talk about the standings, but it's going to be what they can do in the playoffs. Kind of similar to, yeah, exactly. It's LeBron. It's always LeBron. But kind of similar to like the Jazz. You know what I'm saying? You got to do it in the playoffs, man. That's what we all really – that's what it's about now. You can have the most amazing regular seasons that you can ever have, but unless you win in the playoffs, it doesn't really all that matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was trying to close the other night when they were playing – I think it was when they were playing Atlanta, even though he was like, returning from injury. Doris Burke brought it up on the broadcast saying like that Mike Budenholzer's big MO with Giannis has been to give him the ball at the end of games, and it's just not working, like to isolate him. And they just keep doing it. Like he's been very unsuccessful with it. I think he's only converted like in crunch time, like which is like the final 2 minutes of the game, like maybe like 5 out of his last like 26 shots or something like that. I think that was what the stat was. So it's not very good, and that was including the playoff bubble last year. So they might have to do something different. Maybe now that Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton are there. I mean,
Jay, who would you want to take the last shot on that team?
To take the actual shot, I'd want Drew Holiday to take the shot. Like if it's a setup shot, probably Drew Holiday. Chris Middleton's a better shooter. I take Chris Middleton if I have like a set shot. Ball in their hands though, I'm gonna take Giannis. I mean, he's one of the best players on the planet. He is a great decision maker. He's a ridiculous weapon going towards the basket, and defense has to honor him. So the amount of space he creates for shooters. Again, I want to talk about it a little more when we get to Milwaukee, but it's huge for them having Drew Holiday. I think that doing this in the regular season is the best way to get Giannis ready for the postseason. So let him go freaking 5 for 30 the rest of the. Let him miss every other shot as long as he's making them during the postseason. Again, that's all we're going to care about. So I don't mind how many opportunities they're giving him, because he's one of the best players in the world and he should get every opportunity. People don't remember. I mean, Kobe has like the most made game-winning shots in NBA history. He airballed 2 against Utah back when he was like in his second season with the Lakers. So you have to, you're going to miss some, bro. And if you take a lot of them, you're going to miss a lot of them. You're going to make them, but you're going to miss some too. So let Giannis get all the opportunities now and get all of them out. And again, he's the best player on that team. So I would have him with the ball. What about you guys? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to say too, because he like Maybe it just doesn't happen. He just doesn't make the shots, but at least you want him taking them at the very least. He's the best, like you said, he's the best player on that team. He's probably been the best player in the NBA like consistently over the last 2 seasons. Obviously, he's won the MVP. You know, we're excluding like guys like LeBron and KD. KD obviously missed last year, but yeah, I would probably have Giannis, even though the struggles are there. I would want him to just get the experience. He's only 26, so I mean, he's gonna just keep shooting him. He's gonna play for a long time. Chris Middleton's not a bad option. I like Drew Holiday a little bit, but I mean, just again, not more than Giannis, no matter how bad Giannis goes. It's just, I guess it was just interesting that she brought it up, and you know, to see where he actually is like in that sort of stretch, and maybe he gets better. Hopefully, the playoffs are where he gets better, and you know, he can constantly test his mettle in the regular season, and then lose those close games, and then in the playoffs, he's able to rectify that, and you know, so I'd take Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, Giannis is their best like in the arc of the 3-point line shooter. Chris Middleton's their best 3-point guy. I mean, I guess I would just set up a play to either, you know, highlight Middleton or Antetokounmpo there, and whoever has the better shot available, I'd be okay with like Middleton shooting up a 3. He's, you know, their best consistent 3-point shooter on that team, or just Giannis, like, you know, making his way to the hole. You know, maybe rely on getting fouled or whatnot, but Paul George can't get fouled to save his life, so you maybe don't want to rely on getting fouled late in a game. So the last guy on this top 5 list is Dame. Dame is good.
Steph.
Dame is good, but this did drop last Thursday.
Friday? Steph's been unbelievable since then. He'd be up here instead of Dame Lillard probably now, especially because the Warriors, the Blazers have slipped a little bit, and Dame's missed some time. So
I can't say enough great things about Dame. I just I need him to leave Portland and go to Los Angeles in a couple of years when LeBron retires, and he can play with AD, and then he'll win a championship that way, because he's not going to win one in Portland.
So I'm not trying to be super critical, but me and Andrew were kind of talking about this the other day when we were watching Portland. They have a lot of really good players. Mm-hmm. Like, why are they struggling to win so much? I mean, absolutely. Rocco, Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, Carmelo Anthony, Yusuf Nurkic when he's healthy. Enes Kanter is their center off the bench, who's not great, but he's solid off the bench. You know, Norman Powell. They I mean, you can go almost 8 deep with Portland, and I don't get it. Terry Stotts is a good coach. I mean, we've seen him coach teams that have nowhere near the amount of talent that Portland does right now, and it's a condensed season, shortest offseason NBA in any professional sports history. So all that could be playing a big factor. Teams aren't practicing like they used to. I mean, the offensive like firepower we're seeing in the NBA right now, if anyone wants to say it's for anything besides a shortened season, I don't know what to tell you, because that's what it's for. And no practices. Those are the 2 biggest factors for why every team I just looked up the score right now for the Knicks and the Hawks game before we hopped on here. Halftime, it was 69-69. At halftime, these teams are on pace to score 140 points each. The over-under will be 280.
I know
I remember when over-unders were like 220. Nowadays, you see over-unders in some of these games. They're starting open line at like 230, 235. It's like, excuse me? Each team's going to score 115 points? And it's like, yes, they are, because no one plays defense. You can't practice to go over defensive rotations. There was no off season to go over and bring these new guys in and run defensive fundamentals, which is why what the Lakers are doing is absolutely amazing. Frank Vogel should be a coach of the year candidate, but I digress, just so we're all aware. The defense has been non-existent the entire NBA season.
I'm for maybe in like 20 years putting a 5-point shot behind the half court line or something.
Do not know. It's egregious what is going on right now. It's ridiculous.
So to not to like say Dame doesn't deserve to be MVP, but he's one of 6 players on his team that averages over 10 points. CJ's behind him with 23.5. Again, not all about points, but when points is kind of your forte, when shooting is kind of your forte, as it is with him. And, you know, secondary is his assists. He has, you know, averages close to 8 a game. McCollum averages around 5. So McCollum is, you know, like Dame light, you know? Like if Dame is, you know, A, then McCollum is B, right? So, but yeah, so he's not going to win it because of that, because there's just too many, like, good players on that team. which makes him a scary, playoff opponent. But again,
Yeah, if they can get healthy, I mean, even Zach Collins is one of their talented big guys that I don't think Jay mentioned that has been hurt for a little while, and they even have their draft pick last year, Nasir Little, who can get buckets off the bench from time to time. So they're super deep. So Dame's been a little hurt. They lost last night without Dame. They only lost by 3. I mean, they played the Nets. CJ missed. I think they played the Nets. CJ missed a shot to tie it late, but. I would expect them to win some more games. The fact that they didn't win more games while LeBron was out and kind of overtake the Lakers for that 8th spot is not very good because the Lakers were 7-10 since LeBron James went, or 7-10 since LeBron went down. So it kind of speaks to Portland, but it also kind of speaks to the Lakers too, and Frank Vogel, like you mentioned, Jay, for keeping the defensive unit together and making sure they stay a top 10 NBA defense regardless of missing 2 top 10 NBA defensive players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and unpopular opinion here. I'm looking at this next 5. Kawhi does not deserve to be in the. Again, I just don't see it this year. Stats wise, he's would tell you otherwise, but I just don't like him there. Harden, another one of those guys who's played brilliant this year, just doesn't have enough games played to probably win it. LeBron is probably going to fall into that bracket too. Steph, your team sucks, man. You need to be better than even if you're the best shooter in the league, your team still kind of sucks, man. And Rudy Gobert, why is Rudy Gobert up there? Because Donovan Mitchell's going to be out for like a month or something, so he's going to get a little bit more loving. Rudy Gobert might be Defensive Player of the Year, but he's not going to win MVP this year.
You better get Rudy Gobert the heck off of this list. I swear, get him off this list.
I'd rather them put because I think they've had Kyrie on this list or
Kyrie should be on this list.
Kyrie's the only Nets player that's consistently playing. So yeah,
absolutely, and he's balling, big balling, dropping buckets on everybody's domes, killing it.
That's kind of my 5 thoughts on the next 5. Do you guys want to give a quick, just 5 quick thoughts on these players?
I mean, Kawhi's doing Kawhi things. Their Clippers are winning games when he's out. Paul George is, taking advantage of it and scoring a lot of points while he's out. I don't expect him to be out for too long, but him missing because of a bruised foot is kind of like, I mean, I don't even know. Cool. I guess you're going to be out a week for a bruised foot.
Bruised foot, man.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. Get on the court. Get on the court.
Blasphemous.
What's it called? Harden got set back in his injury. We'll probably talk about that again, but that's kind of where he is. LeBron still being in the top 10 is justified. Steph Curry, I think, should be a little higher. And like we said, the list came out last week, so late last week. So
put Steph at 6.
He'd be 5.
He'd probably be 5.
Yeah.
I think I'd put him ahead of Dame. Another fun fact about Steph too is he's only one of 3 players in NBA history to average 40 points a game on 55% field goal percentage. Over the course of those 11 games in NBA history. That he joined Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as only players to do it. But Steph has done it, for 11 games? Wilt Chamberlain did it 28 times.
Are we just giving out cool Steph stats? Because I got one.
Go ahead.
Here we go. All right. In his last 10 games, not including today, he's hit 72 3-pointers. That is more than CP3, Tobias Harris, Russell Westbrook, Pascal Siakam, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid have made all season.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were just gonna say like this month, but you said all season.
It's a couple surprises in there. CP3, really? More than CP3?
All season. Every single one of those guys he's made in the last 10 games, not including today. He's made more 3-pointers than all those guys I just mentioned.
Your stat might be a little better than mine, but
all right, Jay, what are your quick thoughts on the next 5 guys?
LeBron should be in the top 5 because as long as LeBron James is breathing and playing in the National Basketball Association, he is top 5 player in the NBA. Don't even care if he's not on the floor. Steph Curry should be higher. He should probably be 5. Boot Giannis down. Boot Giannis down because LeBron's got to be in there for me. You can put Steph Curry 4. He's been unbelievable. Don't ever put a Utah Jazz anywhere near my top 10 MVP list. I will kick you out.
I didn't even mention him. That's why.
Yeah, don't even bother. It's not even worth it. Do it in the playoffs. We don't want to talk about it. And then Kyrie Irving should probably be here because he's been unbelievable. Jimmy Butler's been good for the Heat too, but he's a guy who's missed time too. A guy who normally doesn't miss time. But yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, we'll move away from that. I mean, we'll wrap up the MVP conversation. It'll, barring anything crazy happening, I think we're still gonna have a pretty close race. For what it's worth, just some injuries kind of, happening that are
muddying the waters
a little bit, and some of that has to be from this turnaround. We'll talk about with injuries right now, and because that's our next topic. We're going to talk about injuries around the league. So I'll run through these real quick, and then we'll go through them some individually. So Durant, what's Durant's injury? Knee? I can't remember.
Thigh contusion.
Left thigh.
So didn't have a bunch of money riding on Durant and DraftKings the other day. Everyone popped off for me, and then Kevin Durant comes out, scores 8 straight points. I'm like, oh, bro, cashing. Big time cashing. We had Landry Shamet. Boy went for 45 at 4% owned. We were big chilling. And Kevin Durant. I'm just upset with myself.
It's okay, man. We're with you here.
Was that the same day that the Dame one happened? That Dame only scored 30 points?
No, that
different day.
Let's just go the next day when I had Grayson Allen at 4% ownership, who went off for 38 DraftKings points. I got Damian Lillard at 4% ownership. Dude goes for the biggest dud I've ever seen, 27 DraftKings points. And I talk about it. I don't know, edge at the screen right now. It's ridiculous.
That's why he's not the MVP, right?
Jiminy, man. A highlight reel, just me tilting on DFS, bro. That's going to be what happens with this stream.
You need to win some more money. Come on now. Get it together.
We will have...
Kevin Durant, would you leave a game?
We'll have end of the year montages for you, Jay.
My head hurts.
I know. To what song? We'll think of the song. Harden out with the hamstring. The news broke was that today that he is pretty much reset back to square one on his rehab. So something happened. They were pretty quiet about the concern of it, how it happened. I think they kind of just said Harden moved a little bit and he felt something. So they're just calling it a re-aggravation of his hamstring. So it looks like he's gonna probably be out at least another 2 to 3 weeks at this point. Some hopeful news: LaMelo Ball, who broke his wrist, is potentially going to play again this season, and doing so, I think, would be rookie of the year for all of our picks again. Because I think that'd make for a really cool story if he could get back on the court and produce. We'll see if coach lets him play meaningful minutes, because the Charlotte's in the playoff hunt, so I would hope so. Jamal Murray out with the torn ACL, done for the season. Kind of talked about Jokic and how he's had to deal with that. Scoring more points looks like is what's going to happen in lieu of having Jamal. Kawhi with right foot soreness is out until next Tuesday. The reports are. I think that's just the way they're what they're calling. I need to rest my best player so he's healthy and full of energy for the playoffs. Normally, I don't mind when you rest a player, but I don't know. Right foot soreness is a terrible excuse for it. LeBron with the ankle.
Could have made up a better injury.
Team stops here. What are you talking
about? LeBron with the high ankle sprain should be out for another few weeks. AD coming back tomorrow, so some good news there for Lakers fans. Oladipo still out indefinitely. Miami traded for him, and he's pretty much been out since. No word yet on when he'll be coming back. Last couple here. Giannis with leg cramps is day to day. I just wanted to throw that out there because he's often kind of missed a couple of games here and here, so just something to keep an eye on. I think that's another reason that we're giving players rest. And then Donovan Mitchell. We have no idea what's wrong with him. All we know is it's his ankle, and all we know is he's going to be out and reevaluated, I think, next week or something. So I'm going to ask you guys, out of those guys, if you remember everything, who's the most impactful?
Ooh, probably James Harden. Steve Nash said today, quote, he'll be back when he's back. That may not be until the playoffs. It may be sooner. I don't know, but a lot of people are leaning towards him not returning until the playoffs. Jay and I both heard this before we got on today, that the Nets have only played 186 minutes with all three, Kyrie, Harden, and KD, on the court together this season, which is less minutes than he actually played in Houston all season. He played about 220 minutes in Houston. So I'd probably say James Harden here. He was an MVP candidate. Him and Kyrie were 2 of 8 players in the NBA, averaging 25, 6, and 6 on 50% shooting from the field when they were both on the court together. So now they also lost LaMarcus Aldridge, who retired to the Nets. Not really that big of a deal, but I mean, he was a big body and they already struggled against Joel Embiid. The other day he put up 38 and 19 against them. I know that sounds like the stat line he had against Phoenix just tonight because he had 37 and 19 today, but he's just been doing that lately. But just to stay on task with this. Yeah, probably James Harden for right now because we at least know AD and LeBron are coming back for the regular season to get some continuity. So that's good to hear that AD's coming back. Jaren Jackson Jr. actually returned tonight. He made his return to the Hornet lineup after he hasn't played since August of last year.
Grizz lineup.
To the Grizzlies. Who did I say?
Hornets.
My bad.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. It's James Harden, but I'm gonna be a little different. I think LaMelo Ball coming back for Charlotte's huge. They've been missing a lot of people. Gordon Hayward is still out. Terry Rozier's missed some time. Even Devontae Graham's missed some time. They were up there like the 4 or 5 seed, and them and the Hawks have pretty much just flip flop. Hawks have been on a tear since hiring Nate McMillan. They've seen their record really, really improve. They played really well. They were losing a lot of games in the beginning of the season, like in the clutch, really close, 1-possession games, and just absolutely pitiful in all of them. And that's been rectified with Nate McMillan. I don't know if it's solidified, but it's something that they've seen a huge improvement in, and that's caused their standings to move up. So I think LaMelo Ball coming back for Charlotte is huge. The other guy that I mentioned is a guy that we haven't seen play a lot with their team, but Oladipo. When you look at that Miami Heat team with Oladipo healthy, I mean, they are loaded. Goran Dragic, Kendrick Nunn, Victor Oladipo, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. I mean, Duncan Robinson. They have shooting. They have youth. They have size. I mean, they can defend. I mean, they're a really good team. Tyler Hero. Oh, he's been cheeky, though. Oh, he's been real cheeky. Like averaging 7 points, shooting like 30% from the field and 22% from the 3-point line. Cheeky. That bad. Cheeky. Apparently, according to some like report I saw, I don't think it was The Athletic. I think it was like NBA Hoops or something like that. Miami's worried that your boy Victor Oladipo is too busy being a star, not worried about on the court stuff. Too busy being a little celebrity. I mean, I think I'm a guy who thinks you can do both.
Miami,
Miami, big town.
Welcome to
like
Miami.
In terms of him making like music and stuff, is that what?
No, like he's trying to be like too much of like a celebrity, like an Instagram celebrity. Like he's focusing too much on his personal brand, and it's costing him on the court. Again, I don't personally see that. He's a shooter. He goes through slumps. That's what happens when you're a shooter.
I haven't seen a viral post from him yet. Must not be doing a good job.
Oh God. Anyway, so Victor Oladipo, I think is a guy that looked really nice when he was traded over there. I thought Miami was going to do some things. I still think Miami can do some things. Not like Eastern Conference Finals or anything like that, but definitely make it to the second round, give some guys some trouble because they're super talented and they play hard. Eric Spoelstra's a great coach. So, to be different, I'll pick Victor Oladipo and LaMelo Ball.
I guess I'll look at it the other way. I'll look at it the way that I know Jamal Murray's out for the season, so now I don't really give the Nuggets a chance to make it out of the West. I know he can be kind of replaced. Murray can be replaced like now, but I don't think he was replaceable for the playoffs. So I'll say Jamal, probably my top guy there, just because I really did genuinely think the Nuggets had a chance there. And then maybe just like my secondary pick would be Donovan Mitchell. I don't take the Jazz seriously without their number one guy. So not that I would choose them to win come out of the West alive, but they're going to most likely, flounder a little bit here, right? And so the Suns have an opening here to take the number one spot. If the Lakers, that positioning will be important, I guess, to see where, some of the teams that they'd be worried about. So if, you're the 1 seed, then you face the 4-5. So right now that's Nuggets Lakers. So maybe the Phoenix Suns don't want to be in the 1 seed, so they don't have to face the Nuggets or the Lakers. The 2 seed would have to go through potentially the Clippers, Mavericks, Grizzlies, so Spurs, Warriors. So I think the 2 seed actually has a closer path to the title or to the Western Conference Finals. So we'll see. It's anybody's guess how the standings play out, but the 2 guys that made their teams, contenders, one being out for the season, and Donovan Mitchell might be done for the season. We don't even know that yet. So they're being very peculiar out there with his the status of that injury.
Yeah, they haven't said much about it. They just said that he's going to miss several games at the very least. So who knows when he'll be back?
Yeah.
I barely take him serious with Donovan Mitchell. No. They shoot like 53s a game. We just played them in back-to-back games. We won the first one. I was all stoked. And the next game they come out and decide to shoot like 57% from the three-point line the entire game. Not for a stretch, the whole game. They shot like almost 60% from the three-point line. Joe Ingles turns into the next coming of Larry flipping Bird. Oh, shit. I don't want to see it, though. I'm not a fan.
So we threw this graphic up here for now while you guys listen to us talk about some of the injuries. So next question I have for you guys is thoughts on coaches resting players. So I kind of mentioned I think Giannis and Kawhi are getting some reserve minutes here so that they can be healthy for the playoffs. I know that obviously we'd like to see these guys out there. Do you guys really think that? Are you guys okay with NBA rest, the coaches resting players, which technically you're not supposed to do unless you're at home? So the Spurs got fined, can't remember, $25,000 maybe this past weekend because they rested 3 of their starters when I guess Popovich wasn't supposed to. I kind of read into it. I didn't get too super deep into the rule, but you can rest some of your starters. It just has to be at home, apparently. I don't know why being at home, especially if you're on an 8-game road trip, as often some of these teams have to do. So that to me was a little confusing, but.
So I actually kind of have an answer for that. So the reason why they're okay with you taking resting players at home is because you play more games at home than you do on the road. And if LeBron comes to your city only once a year, if you're on the East Coast now, the one time you get to see LeBron, you don't get to see LeBron. So that's why gotcha. The NBA can go bite themselves. Okay. I don't care. You give these players had the shortest rest, as we mentioned. I don't know how many flipping times on this show than any professional sports organization has ever had going into the next season. 71 days. Are you flipping kidding me? The players were trying to push it back. Ultimately, they had to agree to a day, so they did it when they did. And then you give them this baloney half back of the schedule. That's just absolutely egregious with how they're scheduling some of these teams. Players could take as much time off as they want right now, especially this season. I've never been a problem with people taking time off, bro. Are you kidding me? I call it sick from work sometimes. Your boy ain't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to work. These dudes are basketball players, but this is at the end of the day, this is their profession. This is their job. They do this professionally. Sometimes you're tired and you can't do it. I mean, what are you going to risk injury? I mean, we already seen, not to get into anything too crazy, but Kevin Love had the mental health issues going on. DeMar DeRozan, we've seen Kyrie kind of be, in and out because of certain things in certain instances. Players deserve rest too, man. I mean, it's not like some obligation that they have to play every game. And I'm glad that that's what everyone used to do back in the old time days. But nowadays, I'm worried about, again, winning in the playoffs and doing whatever I have to do that. So if that means giving Kawhi a week off in the middle of the season, then give Kawhi a week off. If that means giving LeBron an extended rest and Anthony Davis an extended rest, give it to him. Again, I just think the circumstances surrounding this season specifically, and then my previous thoughts and beliefs about resting people and being pro player anyway, just all lead me to say, the NBA needs to kind of get over it.
And then before I let Andrew give his thoughts if he has any, I also just need to mention we're in the middle of obviously this crazy ass pandemic, so you also have to be the league should be a little bit more sympathetic to the players in that regard too. So this whole finding NBA franchises money to rest some players is ridiculous. Also, racial injustice is a real thing. No matter who you are or where you come from, everybody is affected by some of the injustices going around in these United States, throughout the world. Obviously, we have some light being shed on George Floyd's murder by Derek Chauvin and him being guilty on all 3 counts. So you can't ignore what's going on in the world. Players especially can't either. You know, your heart and your soul might always be in the game, but you're allowed to love and feel hurt and pain, or or just like you said, need a mental day off whenever that is possible. So yeah, I'm with you, pro player, but I was just kind of ticked off when I saw that the Spurs got fined. I was like, the Spurs, like, they're in playoff contention. They're the 9 seed right here. But I mean, like, not to be like, anti-Spurs here, but they're not really drawing anybody into their, like, to their games that, television wise either, that, they don't have the star player anymore. So what am I supposed to do? Like, tune in to watch some of their backups go? Like, okay, whatever. Like, most of their team is not necessarily widely known around the league. So you have any thoughts on this, Andrew?
I'm kind of in the same camp as both you guys. You rest players. It's not that big of a deal. You'll hear players, like, even LeBron's been pretty vocal about it. Like, he doesn't believe in rest. Like, I like, if I'm healthy, I'm playing. But to even some extent, I'm sure he would. If he needs a day off, take the day off. Like, it's really not that big of a deal in my opinion. Very short season, even shorter off season. So I don't really mind it, especially if they're like giving extra time for players who played in last year's playoffs to come back from their injuries. Like, I would anticipate, a little bit is being had for Anthony Davis, like, being extra precautious and like, because they played, all the way to the last day of last year's NBA season. Jimmy Butler probably even took a little bit extra time to come back because he played to the very last day of the NBA season. Guys like Kemba Walker, who you saw, like, and even now Jamal Murray, he had successful surgery today. So Nuggets fans, I guess that makes you feel a little bit better, but the same till next season. But it's just it's important. Mental health and physical health is super important, and it shouldn't be taken for granted. And you shouldn't try and just tough it out because you think that's what you need to do. If you need a rest day, take a rest day, and be obviously don't abuse it. That's the last thing you'd want to see. But I think players are smart enough in today's NBA, in today's day and age, and understanding, like, what they bring to organizations, and and the fact that, like, they give enough and they make good enough money, but they're probably still underpaid considering how much revenue they bring in. So if they got to take a couple rest days, I really don't have a problem with it. I just like clowning Kawhi because they're Clippers.
And you can, and to be honest, I know you said don't abuse it. You can abuse it this year, bro. With the blasphemy that's going on this year, abuse it this year. Okay, if you need to, you do what you got to do, bro. Because again,
for the sake of this season, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This year, use it. Because I mean, good Lord, they've been dealt pretty raw of a deal, bro.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I'm with you both. Well said. Just to talk about some standings here, and we can talk about some headlines as we go. Maybe how some of these injuries affect these teams. I think the Timberwolves and the Rockets can both be eliminated today from the playoff contention. So
yeah, throw the Thunder in there too. I throw the Kings. They've been terrible. Holy Toledo.
Yeah, I think today
they had a real shot there. Even the Pelicans are starting to play terribly.
I think today those two teams are actually will be eliminated officially, even though they're already out. Yeah, and then we'll just skip up here. So the Jazz are still top seed right now. Still on a 2-game winning streak, but who knows if they can keep that up without Donovan. Phoenix Suns here just beat they just beat the Sixers today, so that will be a 3-game winning streak. The Clippers won last night, so they're on a 2-game winning streak. Nuggets here at the 4 seed, winners of their last 3 in a row. Still playing pretty good basketball. Might be tough for the Lakers to catch them. Lakers here at the 5 seed. Like Andrew said earlier, 7-10 without LeBron. They should be getting their, one of their pieces back tomorrow. We'll see if Anthony Davis is on a time limit. Probably will be. I don't think you run him out there probably more than 30 minutes.
If I can jump in real fast, since we just finished talking about injuries, Trae Young just exited his game with a left ankle injury.
Oh wow!
So after they've been, and it's not funny. I don't mean to laugh. I'm laughing at Johnny's reaction to it. Even that's not funny, but yeah.
Jiminy, man, come on! It's so annoying. Poor guys, man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can't give you exact context of the ratio to injuries right now, but but it feels like it's a little bit more than normal. It just feels like
it's creeping up there, huh? Oh, gee.
Yeah. We don't have the exact stats on that, but it just feels like it. The Trailblazers here at the 6th seed, 11 games back of the Utah Jazz, probably comfortably in this range. Whether or not they falter a little bit, they're 3-7 in their last 10 though, so that's pretty disappointing if you're a fan of the Trailblazers. Luka just needs them to lose one more game, and he can pull his team within a half game. So Dallas does have a chance to not make it into the have to play in that play-in tournament. Probably comes down to those two teams, Portland or Dallas. So we'll see who can make it. Avoid the play-in tournament. Then you got the Grizzlies, Spurs, Warriors there. I guess it's anybody's. I don't know. Out of those three teams, who do you think comes out as the 8th seed? I probably would, like, if I had to bet today, just give it to Steph and the Warriors just because of his ridiculous shooting. But I think realistically, I'd probably bet on Memphis
to make the 8th seed or to come out of that. Yeah, to make the 8th seed, it'll be Memphis, but no one wants to play Steph in one game, bro. Like,
that's true.
You don't want any part of that. Yeah,
I think that's everybody's kind of same thoughts there.
Yeah. So, let's go to the Western Conference real quick, Ace. A couple of little things, Andrew. I don't know if you have anything on these Western Conference teams, but Phoenix, as we mentioned before already, were ridiculous in the bubble last season, 8-0. So I know everyone keeps talking about Chris Paul, and he's been an amazing addition for them. I'm not going to downplay that at all. But we saw a lot of this growth coming, and then adding that super elixir, like exponential exponent of Chris Paul, just totally ignited them to go off 42-16. That's unbelievable. When you look at the Clippers, we already talked about Kawhi being out a little bit. PG-13's had a pretty solid year, and I don't like Paul George very much. 24, 6.5, 5.5. Shooting a career high effective field goal percentage and true shooting percentage. They're 17-5 since the break, and in that span have are first in the NBA in win percentage, and first in the NBA in offensive rating. So pretty good. They've been playing really well. Andrew, you have anything on those teams before I move on, or Asa?
No, just to go back to Ace's question about who I think is going to make that 8th seed. I think it's probably Memphis. I don't see them going any higher. But the return of Jaren Jackson Jr. is just going to live to help them and their 3-point shooting. They're not really they're a really bottom tier 3-point shooting team in the NBA. And Taylor Jenkins has made a real point of that in his press conferences. Taylor Jenkins, the head coach of the Grizzlies, they've over the last 6 games they've shot 5 more threes than their season average. And Jared Jackson Jr. is a big man who likes to shoot, and not only that, but he'll be able to draw defenders away from the 3-point line more to open up opportunities from the arc for like guys like Grayson Allen and Dylan Brooks. So Jared Jackson Jr. not sure what kind of minutes he's going to see tonight in his first game back, but I would probably bet on Grizzlies being there. Don't want to play Steph at any point. Hopefully the Lakers stay above, they're going to get AD back. So I anticipate them staying at the 6th seed, but I could honestly see Dallas supplanting Portland possibly. Luka's just going absolutely bonkers lately, and he's pretty darn generational, and he's going to do whatever. He's going to probably will that team to at least one more higher spot.
Yeah, and they're killing it with Kristaps, bro. Like if Kristaps was healthy the whole season, like go crazy me. I thought he would be. I think they'd be higher right now. I think they'd be battling. They'd be definitely supplanted in the 6. They'd be battling for the 5-4. I think that they're honestly that good. The Lakers, I mean, come on. I mean, we're pretty good. Okay, here we go. We'll move on. Portland. Funny thing about Portland, actually, they're 32-23, right? They have a minus 19 point differential on the season. So, I mean, pretty good record. They're 32-25 now. I apologize. Yeah. So pretty good record. Minus 19 point differential, right? They could finish with the best record for a team that had a double-digit negative point differential. The only other team to do that, 94-95 Lakers, and they went 48-34. So that'd be quite the feat if they can keep winning games with a negative point differential, because that's not really a recipe for success, and that's not why people are scared of them in the playoffs, because I'm not. And then, you talked about Jaren Jackson coming back for the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies are going to be pretty good, but in a few game series, if Golden State beats San Antonio, right now, right? We're looking at this. Dallas beats Memphis. Dallas becomes the 7. Golden State beats San Antonio. 1 game between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Warriors, right? I'm putting every dollar I have on Steph Curry. So, yeah, just a little standings update. Just wanted to see, you got anything on any of these teams, Ace?
Not a whole bunch. Like if I'm just thinking about how the landscape of the playoffs is going to work, I kind of just mentioned I'd rather try to be the 2 seed if I was one of the the Jazz or the Suns there. I do think that Dallas will become the 6th seed by the season's end. We got a little under 20 games to go, so I think they can keep up that pace and supplant the Trailblazers. This is the time to do it, though. So we'll see if they can make that move. I think it's going to be between, as we kind of mentioned, I'll probably still, I think it's going to come down to Memphis or the Warriors as the 8th seed there. But I do think that this, Western playoffs is going to be pretty competitive. So we're leading up to another great playoff scenario here, which is I'm sure all of us are just going to be overjoyed to see. The West is going to be crazy, and if the West was crazy like this last year, maybe the Miami Heat beat the Lakers because the Heat just came out, not necessarily came out of nowhere, but the Heat won some games that won some series that people did not have them winning. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and just the last thing I'll say about the West, Pelicans, you blew it. Okay, 4 losses in a row. Now you're 3.5 back of the Warriors. You absolutely blew it. I know you've been hurt. You've had some injuries with Lonzo in and out of lineup. It doesn't matter. It's unbelievable. There's too many good players on that basketball team to be as bad as they are. Okay, Zion Williamson is going to be unbelievable. Dude's he just signed with Air Jordan, by the way, in case you didn't know. Only one of 2 active. He's the 3rd active Jordan player. That's a good question. Anyone give me the other 2, guys? A little trivia for you. He's only the 3rd
Russell
player.
Westbrook.
Okay, that's 1. Okay, what is one more?
An active player?
Active. He's only one of 3 active players with a Jordan brand deal.
Oh man, I think I know the other guy. I gotta
with his own signature Jordan shoe or something, because I'm sure other people are signed to Jordan, but only one of 3 active players with a Jordan deal where he's Jordan. He has his own shoe from Jordan.
Kyrie?
No, not Kyrie. He's Nike.
Yeah,
it's not Ja, is it?
No, he's an older gent.
He is, right? Okay,
He's an older gent.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Zion, Russ, and
he's on a new team that's doing exceptionally well. Nope.
I don't know.
New team doing.
Do you want me to give it to you?
A new team doing well.
No, I'm gonna say it. You guys are gonna get ballistic.
No. Give me one more chance. Let me think about it.
Okay.
New team.
New
team. Melo.
He has his own line. Nope.
Not Melo?
Nope.
Melo's been on.
Yeah, he's been on Portland since last year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't.
Aaron Gordon?
You guys are going to go crazy.
No.
Chris Paul? I don't know.
Chris Paul!
Oh, yeah!
Yeah! Chris Paul!
Oh, yeah.
Well done, fellas.
Yeah.
We could just end the show right there.
Right? So it's only Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, and Zion. They're the only 3. Isn't that crazy?
Isn't he the youngest NBA player ever to have a signature shoe made for him now? Because Jordan made him a signature Zion one?
It has to be.
A good one. That's possible. That's a good one. I don't know.
It has to be. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
anyway.
Kobe was youngest player in the league, but still wasn't. I don't think
he wasn't signed yet. Remember, he went through that whole big shoe. He had that one season where he was on a new shoe deal from Adidas because he was first Adidas for a few years.
The first 3 years he was Adidas.
Oh, and then he went that was one season he went for 34 and then signed that huge contract with Nike. Nike, you're ridiculous. You are absolutely ridiculous. You don't give Kobe a lifelong deal. I swear I'll punch you in the mouth. Go down to Oregon, give you the big what do they say in Anchorman, Andrew? Who we got waiting for him?
You got Jack Johnson and Tom O'Leary right here.
I'm waiting for him. I'll go down to Oregon and give him to you. You guys want to be disrespectful to Kobe. Ridiculous.
Elizabeth coming here with the lovely compliment. You guys are the best. Love the excitement. Yeah, you had to be here. Geography joke.
Thank you, Lord.
Okay, so we'll actually finish up the show talking about the Nike and shoes and all that galore. Just real quick, we can go over the East real quick. I'll let you guys throw in some 2 cents in here. 76ers still number one team in the East. Should likely finish as such. Brooklyn Nets right behind them. Brooklyn, without two of their 3 stars, they play better with 2 stars. So I think as long as Durant comes back relatively soon, him and Kyrie can ball out and keep them in the 2 seed. Milwaukee Bucks here.
Hey, I got one thing on Brooklyn, real quick. I'm sorry, I hate to cut you off. I got one thing on Brooklyn.
Cut me off.
So since the trade for James Harden, right? Mm-hmm. Since that trade, all of these combinations that I'm going to give you of players are all combinations that have happened with the big three, and they've been above 500 for every single one of them. Okay, they are 14-3 with Harden and Irving only. They are 5-2 with all three of the big three. They are 4-2 with just James Harden. They are 3-3 with just Kyrie Irving. They are 2-2 with Durant and Irving only. They are 2-0 with only Harden and KD, no Kyrie. They are 1-0 when they only have Kevin Durant. So every combination that you could possibly have for them in the big three, 1 in, 1 out, 2 in, 2 out, they're above 500 in everyone. Just a cool little stat. So
I dig it. Yeah, if you guys want to talk about your points while I read down this list, just let me know.
Oh, I'm sorry. And last thing, they had a rough week. Last week, real rough. First of all, they lost to the Sixers, which was big for them trying to get to the number 1 seed. Yep. And LaMarcus Aldridge retired. Then KD left the game early on Sunday versus the Heat. And then they lost to the Heat on a buzzer beater by Bam Adebayo. So
of all players.
Yep, tough week.
And then we already covered it, but they started this week hearing James Harden has a setback, so not good if you're Brooklyn.
Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Nets win the championship with all three healthy.
I still think they don't.
Nets win the
championship. Los Lakers, baby.
Nets win the championship with 2 players healthy. Which one has better odds?
I mean, with all three, but
okay. Moving on. Milwaukee Bucks, 3 seed, they're locked in. Atlanta Hawks, right now, 32-26, 8-2 in their last 10, doing pretty well there. Trae Young going down though is not not going to serve them well.
Just on the Bucks, Ace. Just on the Bucks. Yes, Drew Bledsoe, being out. Bledsoe being out, Holiday in, huge for them. Yeah. Drew Holiday, in my opinion, much better upgrade offensively, better playmaker, better shooter, better distributor, better defender. He's one of the best perimeter guards defensively in the NBA. Has been since he was in New Orleans. Nobody knew about it though because he was playing in New Orleans. Just because I find some stuff and I got to give it out to you. Eric Bledsoe. This is probably the reason why the Pelicans have been absolutely catastrophists over the I just made up my own word. Catastrophists over the last few games. Last 7 for your boy Eric Bledsoe. 10 points. He's shooting 34% from the field, 22% from the 3-point line. I mean, it's absolutely egregious. You can put me out there and I'll shoot jumpers. I'll be better than Eric Bledsoe over the last 10 games. I said it.
I think if catastrophists. We'll have to figure out the exact spelling there.
It's in the encyclopedia. That's where the definitions are, right?
I'll read off the next 2. I'll read off the next 2. Ted Mosby and then Andrew's Ted Mosby, I guess here, and then we'll get your thoughts, Jay, because you have some notes written down. New York Knicks 32-27, 7-game winning streak. Like I had mentioned earlier on the show, just wrecking competition lately. Julius Randle has been filthy. Julius Randle should be on the top 10 list up there probably by next week for that Kia ladder. Boston Celtics, 6 seed, 31-27, 8-2 in their last 10 games. Beat up on the Lakers last week. But been playing some good basketball there too. You have any notes on them?
They'll finish at the 4 seed. I mean, to be honest, they'll probably leap the Knicks here and leap the Hawks, even though both the Knicks and the Hawks, like you mentioned, have been playing absolutely amazing. We saw Julius Randle the other day light up the Lakers. Dude looks like he's going to be a multi-time All-Star if he plays like this. The development, his three-point shooting, and his overall ability to create his own look. I mean, I remember when Julius Randle was on the Lakers, if he was not shooting a layup or dunking the basketball, I thought the ball would no shot. It was going in, no shot. Elbow jumper, shooting it. I was like, there's no way, not going in. I might as well throw a pea in the ocean. I got a better shot. So, yeah, and it sounds like it's catastrophe if you don't. Go ahead, hit that little thumbs up button. Yeah, so Julius Randle's been unbelievable, multi-time All-Star. The Boston Celtics are pretty good. I've liked them the entire time, even though
I shit on them a little bit.
Boston, yeah, even though, Buck Foston over here in LA. Jason Tatum, dude. I mean, this dude's going to be a top 5 player in the league here in a few years. He's absolutely egregious. When you look at him and Jaylen Brown as a duo, they are averaging Jason Tatum 26, 7, and 4. Jaylen Brown 24, 6, and 3. Kemba Walker's getting healthy. I think Kemba Walker is a guy who people really, like to diss on. And I totally understand it. There are some times where he's come up short in his career, no pun intended, because he's more on the shorter side. But dude's a baller and super clutch. I mean, that shot at UConn will forever live in my memory. So, yeah, Boston's the team I can see going up to the 4.
Yeah, Kemba's still averaging 18 points and having his worst shooting season of his career, like 39, barely at 40%. I think barely breathing above water there. So if that improves, probably tack a couple more points on for him. Speaking of Julius, though, in the Knicks, they actually would have won their 8th game in a row 10 minutes ago, but they went to overtime against the Knicks after Trae Young, against the Hawks. I'm sorry, after Trae Young hurt his ankle after Bogdanovich hit a 3 to tie it. But he went into overtime, and they won by 10. The game just ended. He had 40. I don't know exactly what he had. I'm looking up his stats right now, but
40, 11, and 6.
40, 11, and 6. So he's got 40. He's got 3 40-point games this season, the most by a Knick since Melo in 2014.
Bro, he shot 11 of 21 from the field and 6 of 8 from the 3-point line.
Dude, those numbers. If you would have told me that Julius Randle would have stat lines like that 4 years ago, I would have told you were crazy. I would have called you something worse that I wouldn't say on stream. I would have kicked you out of my house if you were watching the Laker game with me.
Who's Julius Randle practicing with this?
Well, they kind of talked about it the other day, bro. He's on like that Kobe mentality, dude, because he spent that time with Kobe in LA, and he talked about it. He was like, first thing I learned from Kobe, the second I get into a city, don't matter what time I get in, I go right to the gym and get to work. Starts putting up shots. He had a great work ethic. That was never a question. He was a little fluffy when he came in to the NBA. A little bit
he looks pretty built now, dude.
Oh, dude, yeah, because of Kobe, dude, Mamba mentality, baby.
Kobe was in the gym before the crack of dawn.
Oh yeah. Do you remember that story? I forgot who it was. It was some ESPN.
Jay Williams.
Jay Williams is out practicing. Kobe was practicing. Jay Will comes out, sees Kobe practicing, goes, all right, I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna get my shots in, whatever. Go to shoot around, work myself, get it ready. Right? Tries to stay there as long as Kobe's there, but can't. And so they play the next day. Kobe drops like 40 on Jay Will head because he's a monster. Jay Will asks him after the game. He goes, Kobe, dog, I know you were there before me. Like, you were there practicing the entire time. What time did you end up leaving? And Kobe was like, yeah, bro, I'm going to stay here. I was going to stay on that court until you got off. I was going to let you know that no matter what you do, however long you come out here, no matter what drills you do, you ain't going to never outwork me. That's the Mamba. You know what I'm saying? Whew.
Yeah. That's like sadistic in the most competitive way possible. It's like, they want to play basketball in the same court as me, practice with next to me. No, okay, yeah, I'm gonna tie my shoelaces tighter. I'm gonna sweat.
Like how dare they?
I'm gonna sweat more. Yeah,
I'm gonna drink the water better. My Gatorade gonna taste better than your Gatorade.
Right. Hey, I mean, Kobe was awesome. I mean, I only wish that his Mamba mentality kind of grew more, because I feel like he would have kept growing that as time went on. But
I mean, if the definition of Mamba mentality, even off the court, is deciding that you're going to, after retire, make films and then win an Oscar for your first film. Right. It's ridiculous.
Definitely. And I'll just wrap it up here real quick. If you guys have anything to add, go for it. The Heat, Hornets, Pacers, and Wizards, all around, in playoff contention right now. the Toronto Raptors and the Chicago Bulls are less than a game out of the 10 seed right there. Washington Wizards were the 12 seed not too long ago, so they've kind of pushed up a little bit with the 6-game winning streak. So obviously, if you win 6 in a row in the East, you have a chance to
Look at this guy.
move up several bases.
I know one guy here that had the Wizards going up in the playing game.
Ace had the Knicks, man. You guys' picks here in the East have really paid off. My Portland pick is not panning out. They're stuck at 7, even though they are stuck at 6, even though the freaking Lakers have been so injury ridden. Those jerks.
Well, for what it was worth, the Knicks were floating around 500. Without this 7-game winning streak, they would have been under 500. So you gotta pull off a winning streak, get yourself in there. The Wizards have been kind of bad this season though, and they're still 8 games under 500. So by all means, they're not a great team. They just have 2, fantastic statistical players on their team. So
exactly, and I thought that this kind of winning stuff. I thought that Russ and Beal would kind of be like about 2 weeks ago, be like, hey, we're kind of sitting in a bad spot here. We might want to pick it up. They decided to just start doing it like 2 weeks ago instead of like 3 weeks ago, like I thought. But here they are, and no team in the Eastern Conference that's in that bottom tier wants to play against Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook. Like we were just talking about it. There's some guys that you don't want to go in one game against, and Russell Westbrook can go for a 30-point triple-double, and Bradley Beal scores 30 points every time he rolls out of bed. So good luck with that if that's the case.
Westbrook could have an off shooting night, and Beal can pick up the slack and pick up all his points. So
and Russ is basically at the end of his career going to own every triple-double odd stat that there possibly could be. He's now the first player in NBA history with multiple triple doubles against every NBA franchise, which is just absurd to me. He had a triple double tonight too. He had 20 boards. He was like the first Wizards player to have 20 boards and a triple double in God, I don't know how long. He's also the most efficient clutch scorer in the NBA this year, which is another weird thing to hear. He's got 105 points in the clutch with a 60% field goal percentage. Yeah, right. I had the same reaction. So yeah, Washington. My other pick was Chicago. It wasn't Portland. I said Chicago out of the East was going to make a big run. Zach LaVine get a little healthy, please. And Vucevic over there, I thought was going to really help them. But
they have a shot for sure.
We'll see.
Yeah. They got bigger problems than Vucevic. Vucevic is out there trying to keep these bums above water.
Right.
No, they need LaVine back. Yeah.
So we're gonna head over onto the last page of this show. Talk about Mamba out of Nike. Vanessa Bryant and the Kobe Bryant estate didn't renew the partnership with Nike. It was based off of their decision. They had a 5-year post-retirement agreement that they would stay on with Nike. A couple of tidbits that I was able to find. I guess for the last 5 years, Kobe and his team has wanted more availability of his shoes. I think it's the most, Kobe's are the most popular Nike shoe. If I, reasonably speaking, I think I'd have to double check that.
It depends if you're talking amongst fans or amongst players. If it's amongst fans, it's it's under Jordan. I mean, Jordan brand, the amount of shoes that they sell and how available the flipping Jordan brand is. You can find Jordan brand everywhere. You can go to every Foot Locker and find Jordan brand. Good luck finding Nike.
Well, every time
he passed.
Every time they put Kobe's shoes, they would always sell out. So I think, in terms of that, is what I'm trying to get at.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, and then I think they wanted more shoe sizes for kids. That didn't happen, so they kind of were frustrated about that. In comparison, LeBron James, Michael Jordan have lifetime deals with Nike. Signed it while they were both playing, if I'm not mistaken. So Kobe obviously doesn't have a lifetime deal.
I think Jordan's was. I can't remember Jordan's. I imagine it was.
We were young kids back then. But in February of this year, I think it was February of this year, the Kobe Bryant, Vanessa Bryant team, I'm going to post this image right here for you guys to see, put a copyright claim in for this image, and people are speculating that it's possibly for their shoe. So there are some rumors going out that Mamba line of shoes will be making it to the market. I hope so. I have not I do not own a pair of Jordans or Kobe's, Nike shoes, but I'd buy a pair of Mambas. Support the Bryant family. Honor Gigi and Kobe that way. Yeah, but kind of a cool design. The snake eating itself is kind of like the kind of sign for an infinity. It's never ending. So Mamba never ending. Kind of a cool little story to tell right there.
That's sick.
What are your guys' thoughts on this whole Nike nonsense? I mean, is it nonsense really? I mean, maybe they were already going to go away from it anyways.
I mean, I guess from a business model, you find the way to make the numbers make sense, but from just like a branding standpoint, it doesn't really make sense because it's Kobe. It's like I don't own Kobe's anymore. I did at one point. I sold them for God knows what reason. I shouldn't have. And like it's like you guys mentioned, it's really hard to get them. So to see them if they release more and they use this logo, I'll definitely be trying to get whatever shoes come out of this because I need Kobe stuff. I got a signed jersey, so I need to frame that one day. I need to make sure I have any sort of memorabilia I have well taken care of that man because there's not going to be enough memorabilia to really encapsulate how I really feel for the guy. So to see more shoes be available for me will. And I'm sure for you guys, like you said too, will make you feel really good. And I'd love to help out the Bryant family.
I think not that it's not nonsense. I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So from a business standpoint, I guess if you're Nike, scarcity is what really sells. If there's a need for scarcity though, there's not a real need for it to be scarce. The demand for the product is ridiculous. Everyone wants Kobe's. I own 4 still. I don't even play basketball anymore. I still own 4. I own some old ones, like from the first when it was like when he came out with like the Kobe 3s, like the spider web looking ones. Dope. I got the Kobe 8s. I mean, Kobe. Everyone wants Kobe's apparel, and for some reason, at first you would think the first guess would be because he passed away. They've gotten really scarce because they were worried about people buying up the market and trying to resell it for like a higher value. But this has been an ongoing issue with Kobe products before he passed away. The scarce availability for children was definitely a thing. The little amount of product they would drop when they did their drops was ridiculously scarce. Again, which is fine from a business perspective if you're trying to like really hype demand. It's Kobe flipping Bryant. There's enough demand. All right. You don't need to make it scarce. Everyone wants to buy them. So don't understand that. It's also the most popular shoe among players. When you look at last year, 103 players wore Kobe Bryant shoes.
Wow.
The next closest was 57, and you'd probably think it's Jordan. It's not. It's Kyrie Irving. 38 are Jordan. I mean, it's, yeah.
Those are the threes right there.
Right.
And then while you were talking, I was going to just share the shoes that you own. Here's the 8s.
Yep. I got them in the blues, and I got ones in the whites, and then I got the Kobe through. You have the 3s? Let me see the 3s again. Maybe they were the 2s. Maybe I was wrong. But they kind of look like spider webs.
Yeah. Those are the white one that Asa showed are the 3s. You just have them in black.
That's the one, right? I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
You just have them in black, yeah.
Yeah.
Here, just give me 1 second.
Sick. They look dope, bro.
We're Let me just share. I can only work so fast, man.
No, I mean, and then they did put a copyright in for footwear. Yes, baby.
Is that your shoe?
Yup. Yes, they are. Still fit 9.5, baby. Still slide right in them puppies. You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna say, Andrew, maybe you can talk your brother into giving you one of his 4 pairs of Kobe's because
I got a bigger boot.
Yeah, I got a bigger boot.
Don't fit.
Let me just. I just wanted to end this Kobe little segment real quick with Vanessa's quote. She said, "My hope will always be to allow Kobe's fans to get and wear his products. I will continue to fight for that. Kobe's products sell out in seconds. That says everything. I was hoping to forge a lifelong partnership with Nike that reflects my husband's legacy. We will do everything we can to honor Kobe and Gigi's legacies. That will never change." So, some nice words from her.
Great statement too, because you didn't knock anything out. Like if Nike reconsiders,
absolutely.
I mean the branding, the how much time Nike brand has been put with Kobe. I mean it's a perfect pairing, which is why this doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Obviously, no one does. Unless you're on part of one of those teams. But Just real interesting. Real
Yeah,
interesting.
So I think that they probably would have tried to potentially maybe work out a lifelong deal, but now I think they're going to probably swerve in the direction of just making their own. They might have asked for a couple of things, and Nike said no, respectfully. You can't really knock either side up there. Ace, my left toe will fit in your shoes, Johnny. That's it. My left toe only.
That's it, right?
It's pretty true. I do got. When I was growing up, when I was 9, I wore a size 9. When I was 10, I wore a size 10. When I was 11, 12, 13. When I was 13, I was wearing a size 13. I capped out at 13, but sometimes I had to buy a size 14 in some shoes because they just don't fit. So
damn, that's a big ass boot, Ace. I didn't know you were a size 13.
Yeah.
You go to Ross, get the good Nikes for cheap. They got the. You go to Ross, they only got the 13 and size 14s, baby. You find some good shoes over there.
I usually get lucky because whenever if I'm trying to get a pair of shoes on discount, everybody buys out the normal sized foot people with feet that are normal size, whatever the hell I'm trying to say here.
We're picking up what you're putting down.
Thank you. You guys got anything to add before we send it home?
Nope. Everyone, thank you so much for watching, and we'll be seeing you tomorrow, baby. We got the baseball buzz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll be on tomorrow. We're live streaming our baseball episode, Baseball Buzz. If you would like to join us, bring a drink in hand. It can be non-alcoholic or alcoholic. We don't judge. Love you all the same. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Send some loving, extra loving on to the world. The world needs it. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.